For those who are living under a rock, where did you get the idea from to build what is now a billion-dollar brand?
Well, I never intended to come to America and stay. We were following all the California trends. I was surfing one afternoon up at Malibu and I was pulling on my Ugg boots and just this massive dose of goosebumps went, oh my God. And so it was sort of like a no-brainer. This is going to be unbelievably big. But boy, we had no idea that Americans did not understand.
Brian Smith, the founder of the iconic Ugg boot, knows what it takes to turn a simple idea into a global sensation. His book, Birth of a Brand, is packed with raw, real stories about the ups and downs of building a multi-million-dollar company and the tough decisions to step back so it could grow into the billion-dollar powerhouse it is today. With his laid-back style and unforgettable stories, Brian has become one of the most inspiring voices in business and entrepreneurship.
Good for you. I've never had anyone put it in those words because they think, but I've had times where it was like, get out of this, Brian, get away from here right now.
I love that. And I think that's really important from anyone listening is to really start to get. There is one question I want to ask. Back in the day, the three gentlemen from Anaheim, right?
Yes.
I guess what I want to know is where were those?
It's the best deal I could find. Otherwise, the company would have gone out of business. In my mind, you're my three new partners. In their mind, they just bought the company from me.
Hello, Brian. What a privilege to be talking to you, and thank you for coming on Transforming the Game.
My pleasure.
UGG is such an iconic name here. It's like UGG and Vegemite. I love it.
Totally.
So
yeah.
Let's start at the beginning for those who are listening, been living under a rock with their UGG boots on their feet. Tell me, where did you get the idea from? I know, but for those that might not know, where did you get the idea from to build what is now a billion-dollar brand?
Well, I never intended to come to America and stay, but I did intend to come to America and look for a business to bring back to Australia because, you know, we were following all the California trends of waterbeds and Levi jeans and the surf brands and skate brands and things. And I had quit being a chartered accountant after 10 years and decided that wasn't for me. And so I went to California and started looking for the next big thing. And I was up there like 3 or 4 months looking at billboards and newspapers and all the products I could see at retail. And it wasn't until like after 4 or 5 months, it was October, late October, and the first storm had sort of come down and hit the coast. And that's when Californians think, oh, it's winter, right? And I was surfing one afternoon up at Malibu and I was with a buddy and we finished surfing and I was pulling on my Ugg boots that I'd brought from Australia. And just this massive dose of goosebumps went over me like, oh my God, there are no sheepskin boots in America. And I knew that 1 in 2 Australians had some sort of sheepskin footwear, you know? And so it was sort of like a no-brainer. It was like, oh my God, Doug, we got to go into business. We're going to be instant millionaires, right? Because that's what entrepreneurs do. You know, I was thinking, well, there's 20 million people in America, in Australia, 200 million in America. This is going to be unbelievably big. But boy, we had no idea that Americans did not understand sheepskin and they did not want to put it on their feet.
Like, I love your curiosity from the start. So you're
Yeah.
like, I actually don't want to be an accountant anymore. I'm going to go out into the world and work out what it is I want to do. So that curiosity is really what stemmed everything. And then when you speak of those goosebumps, I just got them then all over me, actually.
Right.
Like physiologically, when you've got fear or when you've got excitement like that, it's kind of the same feeling in your body.
Very close.
Throughout your journey, you talk about, you've obviously got a very good intuition and self-awareness. How have you distinguished between goosebumps that were exciting and about to make your life thrive and rocket to ones that are more of a warning sign to go, well, hang on, that's like my gut saying maybe it's not a good idea?
Good for you. I've never had anyone put it in those words because they think goosebumps are great, right? But I have had warning. To me, we've all got this fragment of God in us, and it has perfection of knowledge, perfection of everything, right? And the only way it can communicate with us is through this electrochemical body, and it comes out as goosebumps, right? So I like to encourage everyone listening, every time you get the goosebumps, just stop for a second and think, what did I just think? What did I just see? What did I just experience? Because it is a message coming from inside. And most of mine have been positive, but I've had times where it was like, get out of this, Brian, get away from here right now. And that gives the same, it doesn't have the goosebump, the skin selection, but it has the same internal warning.
Right.
So, yeah, I've become very, very powerful believer that there's this fragment of God in us that always knows the right thing to do. And our mission, if we can, is to relax and tune in. And most people do that through meditation, but just, I do it through meditation, but now I've got to the point where I will stop and think and just get quiet and go, what feels right here? And so you can always, every time you turn to it, it will respond.
I love that. And I think that's really important from anyone listening, is to really start to get in tune with yourself and your body and look at what your body is trying to tell you. Is it, if you're getting some sort of element, if it's stress related, you're going, well, what is stressing me and what is that stimulant that's stressing me, right? And is it good and is it bad? Should I go towards the light or against the light, I guess?
Yeah, I've read a lot of spirituality and philosophy, and one of my favorite quotes is that the 5 mental poisons are fear, anger, envy, jealousy. Well, that's going to be 6. Suspicion and intolerance, right? Fear, anger, envy, jealousy, suspicion, intolerance. Anytime I'm uneasy or feeling like shit, it is one of those things. So I have to go through and identify which is it. I'm anxious. Jealousy, no. Intolerance, God damn it. I'm so upset with my kids, right? I'm angry, I'm yelling, and my life is shit because of intolerance. So then I work on that one. And then a week later, it could be something totally different. But I feel if you can sort of isolate which one of those mental poisons is bugging you, you'll be able to sort of weed it out pretty quickly.
I love that. But what about when there is one question I want to ask. Back in the day when you were signing, you kept getting these partners, and then you got the 3 gentlemen from Anaheim, right?
Yes,
I
yes.
guess what I want to know is, where were those Goosebumps them, or how did they actually sign you out of the company initially? Which in the end, it's all worked out. But how did that happen?
Well, I didn't get signed out, otherwise I would have done that deal. We were 4, there were 3 new investors and me, so we were going to split the company 25% each, which wasn't a great deal, but it's the best deal I could find. Otherwise, the company would have gone out of business, right? So the proviso was, though, that I didn't get my actual stock certificate issued until I finished a trademark lawsuit that I was in with a company called UGHS. And I knew I was going to win that. So I signed the deal thinking, okay, we're in my mind, you're my 3 new partners. In their mind, they just bought the company from me. And at some future time, if I ever did the trademark thing, they would give me 25% of it back. So it's a very subtle mind shift, and we all look at the world from our position at the center of our universe, right? And next person's got their universe, and the next person's got their, and you multiply that by millions and millions and millions of people, and there's all these different ways of thinking that is, that's how, elections get won by 2 or 3%. You got 50 million here and 51 million, bam. But it's everyone looking at how does this affect me at the center of my universe?
Absolutely. Everyone has these different realities, right? And you've always got to be aware of their perception. So I guess one of my last question for you, because this has been absolutely amazing, is how important was it? Your wife is the one that slapped you out of that fog.
Right.
How important as an entrepreneur was it to have such a support network around you, such an inner circle, your wife there, going through all those years?
Yeah, it was critical for me. I would not recommend that anyone start out to do an entrepreneurial venture who can't afford it. I would say don't do that, because when I met my wife, she was really well-paid secretary for an architectural firm, and she kept me for several years. But that was very stressful, and I wouldn't recommend doing it that way. If you have a good job, start your new venture on the side, like on the weekends and at night, and only give up your day job when the new business is absolutely demanding your attention. Having that person by my side was critical for me. And anyone who's going into an entrepreneurial venture, you better have the support of your spouse or girlfriend or whatever, because there's going to be tough times that will test you.
Oh, I love that. And that's a great way to end. Brian, I have been so excited to talk to you. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. You're a wealth of knowledge. I can't wait to meet you in person one day.
Yeah, hopefully June in Australia.
Excellent. June in Australia, guys. Love it. Thank you, Brian.
See you, Christina.